I am no longer married, and not by choice. I've thought long and hard about how to talk about this because it's not easy for anyone. This is like my fourth, maybe even fifth time filming this video because, quite frankly, I cried way too much the first few times I did. That's not stuff I want immortalized on the internet. And I've only really talked about this story deeply with a small number of friends and family before now. And one of those friends observed correctly that no one goes into marriage thinking that they are going to get divorced. And that's true, but if you wanted to go the whole facts don't care about your feelings route, I could easily point out that nearly 50% of all marriages end in divorce. However, that does not change the reality that when you are wearing a white dress or a tuxedo and either watching someone walk down that aisle or walking down it yourself, you always think of divorce as something that happens to other people. It could never happen to you. But it did. My husband left me. If any fact does not care about my feelings, it is that one. Now, many of you might hear me say this and still wonder why I'm going to talk about this at all, even if it's true. I don't blame you. There was a time when I myself would have asked, what kind of unstable narcissist splashes the details of their wedding and separation all over the internet? Part of me still would rather not talk about any of this. I have clearly avoided it for 2 years, but for better or for worse, I am a public figure, and if I take my ring off, as I should have a long while ago, people are going to have questions. And if I don't tell this story, it is very possible that someone with little to no empathy for me will, as often happens on the internet. Or rather, tell a garbled and inaccurate version of it.
Ain't that the fucking truth? Ain't that the truth? So what she just said is like, I have to tell this story because if I don't, someone else is going to tell you a bullshit, twisted out of context version of this story in order to like destroy me on the internet. And I don't want that. So you're going to hear it from me. And I've experienced this, man. Listen, so with my friend, I've been dragged a lot on the internet for my friend that went to prison for a crime he didn't commit that he pled guilty to because he was convinced that he had to by his fucking lawyers. I have never kept that a secret. There's never been one moment in my either private life or my life as I guess kind of a quote unquote public figure that I kept it a secret that I had a friend that went to prison for a crime he didn't commit. My entire family knew about this. My friends knew about it. I posted about it on the internet. We made fun of it on the internet. I coped through 8 years of supporting him in prison by being ridiculous about it. Like, I mean, I never kept it. I was very honest with my locals community about it. We talked about it in some of our community Zooms where I said I think the prison like industrial complex is bullshit and the justice system is bullshit because my friend went to prison for a crime that I damn well know he didn't commit and he had to plead guilty to it, else he would have been in prison for the rest of his damn life. And so I never hid that story, but I also never proactively told it. And the reason I never like let me tell you about the story of the time my friend went to prison for a crime he didn't commit. Like it was like it wasn't it there was no reason for me to tell it, to be honest. Like at the point that I became like quote unquote like internet quasi famous, there was like I wasn't even speaking to him anymore. And there was no bad blood, there was no animosity. It's just that like life goes on. I hadn't even really talked to him in like 5 years. I wasn't thinking about him at all. And so like it never occurred to me to do a video or to talk about it because it wasn't a part of my current experience at all. And so then what happened? Someone that I trusted went through 15 years of my social media history because he's an untalented narcissist that can't do anything on his own merits without trying to destroy other people. And he found evidence that, oh my God, Carlin was connected to someone who went to prison, and then splashed it all over the fucking internet, doxed my friend to the point where he had people calling his current place of employment, trying to get him fired after he had already been to prison, already suffered enough, what had gotten out, was moving on with his life, was like just being a private fucking person. I had some asshole to get revenge against me go through my entire social media history to dox my friend in order to get his like sick, fucking twisted, narcissistic revenge against me. And looking back on it, I don't know how I could have handled the situation any differently, because there was no reason for me to publicly make a video like, let me talk to you about this really fucked up thing that happened to my friend. There was no reason for me to do that. But at the same time, like, me not being that like proactive about it led to other people that were malicious, bad actors who are now pretending they're like white knights on the internet that are going to save everyone, and they aren't even really doing anything. It led to them taking that information, some that I had given them in private, in confidence, because it was back when we were still friends, and taking it and twisting it and using it against me. And not only using it against me, but doxing my friend, who was a private person, who wasn't a public person on the internet at all, for his sick. Well, yes, Queen Queerin, for sure. Yes. So I completely understand. I guess what I'm saying is, and maybe I'm getting some feelings out, but I guess what I'm saying is I understand why Lauren Southern is doing this. And I mean, I guess like that whole incident really taught me a lot about people and the depths that people will sink to when they are desperate to be internet famous, but have absolutely no talent or skill or intelligence of their own to rely on to do it. So, what they have to do instead is destroy other people for clout and fucking clicks. So, I get where she's coming from with this. I really do.
In order to hurt or discredit me. And painful reality is already bad enough without having to correct a more painful lie. But that's not the only
Oh,
reason I want to talk
hang
about
on.
this.
I think I missed a super chat, and I apologize if I missed a super chat. Shauna, thank you. Red Pill Godfather Rolo spread lies about her despite the receipts, and their Fuentes space is saying she's sleeping with Tim Pool. She's not sleeping with Tim Pool. That's bullshit. And apparently have a secret love child with Destiny. The nonsense this woman has seen. I mean, I really feel for her. I really do. And this is part of why I wanted to watch this, is I feel like for some weird reason I have so many like life parallels with Lauren Southern. Like Lauren Southern and I are very different people. Lauren Southern and I have very different values, I'll tell you that. But like I feel like I understand her, and I feel like I understand a lot of the things that she's been through, because a lot of those things have happened to me, and they've happened to me on a much smaller scale than they've happened to Lauren Southern. And so I really feel for her, because I know the absolute living, breathing hell that I went through for 2 years, and I cannot imagine what she has to experience. And so, because it's just on a scale that's so much larger than the one I'm on. So I really do feel for her.